So welcome to Gafferpedia.
Oh, fantastic. No, thank you for having me.
So as you know, we're a audiovisual industry topic-based podcast. And so today we're talking about the recovery and the resilience that your business has shown from a rather tragic or devastating setback.
Yeah.
It was the fire in your warehouse. So we're here today with Stav from Pro Light and Sound, and I'm pretty confident that you're going to be a regular on the show. And
Looking forward to that.
Going to be, we'll call you a friend of the podcast. But today we wanted to zoom in and talk about the fire and I guess your bounce back from that. So let's just paint everybody, our dear listener, the fire. Tell us a little bit about you and the business and where you were and then get to that day.
It was devastating at the time because just before COVID, we had just done a big relaunch because Pro Light and Sound has been around for 30 years, and obviously over that period of time we go through all the changes with the landscape, nightclubs, dance parties, festivals, corporate events. And then as we changed, we sort of realised where we sat. We sat in that like boutique AV sort of area. And we found ourselves a nice site, 1,500 square metres, great for what we wanted to do. We wanted to be, we had a real good niche market, mostly doing boutique corporate events and weddings. Just before COVID hit, and we had a big launch, and we were so excited because this was the pinnacle of Pro Light and Sound. We finally achieved what we wanted to. It was like a 30-year goal that we finally achieved. And it was so exciting. And then we ran with that for 3 months before COVID hit. So for 3 or 4 months of really having a good run at it the way we wanted to, just had everything nailed, crew, personnel, client base. It was just fantastic. And then unfortunately with COVID, just that happened, and then our 2-year siesta that we had to have.
Yes, of course. But then, like I'm at home, can't remember what day of the week it was, but because obviously don't live far, and so it came up, there was a fire in this, down around the corner from here. It is in my watch zone. And I thought, geez, I think I know where that is. And then the next day, as I drive past your place to get to here from home, and there it was. And there you were. And
there we were. We were there for 15 hours watching it burn. It was horrific. It was, and it was surreal looking back at it now, because we were all set up. It was a Saturday night. So
it must have been the Monday morning when I saw you.
Yeah, so Saturday night, thankfully, we had a couple of jobs out, a couple of truckloads of stuff doing like weddings, because as soon as COVID was over and we were let loose, we were just rolling out all these back-to-back weddings.
Everyone's catching up.
It was
on all that lost time.
All those deferred, delayed, brought over, and some weddings that we re-quoted 4 times in 4 different venues. We finally got it going. So we had all these events that we had to roll out. So it was a Saturday night. We had 2 trucks out loaded. We had another truck ready to go in as we're bumping another one out, because it ended up being a back-to-back event in one of the venues. And it was really common at the time, because literally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're just doing wedding after wedding after wedding in the same venues and just rolling out things. And I'm heading out at 11:45 to the Botanical Gardens to do a reset with a truckload of gear. And the alarm company rings me up and says, we've got alarms. And I said, probably one of them triggered. He goes, no, we've got multiple alarms. So in my head, I'm thinking, someone's doing our shop over. So that was my initial, So basically, I've sort of pulled over, had one of the other boys say, look, come, grab the truck, go to Botanical Gardens. I'm going to go back to the shop. The response time's 12 minutes for guards to get there. On the way back, I get this phone call. I said, what happened? Have they already gone? He goes, no, we've got 30-foot flames coming out the top of your building.
Bloody hell.
And I tell you what, it was unbelievable at the time. I couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's telling me there's 20 fire trucks here, there's 70 people here. It's on for young and old. There's pipes everywhere. And I was trying to, put that all together. They'll come around the corner, police are stopping me. I said, I'm the owner. I've come around, come in, had a look at, and he wasn't wrong. It was like 10, 15 metre flames coming off the top of the building,
Yeah.
right across the top of it. And it was a shock. I probably didn't believe it because it's not something that you could
Yeah, even though it's
imagine.
it's like you're looking at it, but it's like
Yeah.
I guess it's not as you said, it's not just a place, it's not just things like you were saying. That's the culmination of the direction that you've been heading for 30 years, and that's what you're looking at. That's
Yeah.
in jeopardy.
Going up in smoke.
Yeah.
And literally going up in smoke. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners probably can sort of have sympathy and empathy for it, because every single item that you got in your inventory, it's all hard earned in our industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, we work really, really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody in our industry is in the same boat. They make sacrifices to purchase that.
Yeah.
They work late so they can get this.
And it was carefully chosen. A lot of thought went into it.
Exactly. Everything was a passion that went into actually
Just,
pursuing
yeah,
that. Yeah.
Story and,
Oh, yeah.
and that piece of gear.
Yeah, and everything's got a story. I'm sure you can look around any gear and say, oh, yeah, I remember when that went in there and I got this one. And everybody's like, it's almost like their baby. And that's how I felt. And it was well and truly on. It was well and truly on. There was nothing we could do about it. They were dropping 12 tonne of water every minute on the fire.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like when he said it was on fire, I thought, I was like, oh, what can we salvage? And when I got there,
nothing.
so already in my head as I'm driving, I'm thinking, how are we going to salvage? I've got jobs on next week. We've got all, so I'm working on how, like as you do in the events industry, you sort of start thinking, okay, how am I going to manage this? And then just goes bang.
Yeah. No, it's smoke.
Once you get there, yeah.
Smoke and water damage is going to destroy anything else that wasn't actually on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, I had first-hand experience of that with staging connections burnt down 101 Roden Street a long time ago now. But and that was just our sales building, luckily, like it wasn't the inventory. But yeah, it just wrecks everything.
Well, it's interesting. Like I'm sure we'll get into like the long term, how that changed you for the long term. But that thing of like, even you're dealing with all this, but you've got jobs next week. Like, how does that immediate thing
When jobs on that day.
Yeah, how does that immediate thing play out?
Oh, and you know what? If the first 4 hours of watching that fire, because obviously this is it's now 12 o'clock midnight, and I'm watching this fire, and I've got the team at the Botanical Gardens packing down one wedding and reloading the other, and they're asking me, how you going? He said, should we come over? I said, no, you just worry about what you're doing now. We'll deal with what's going on here. And for that 3-4 hours of just watching the flames and trying to figure out, and again, it's all foregone conclusion. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
So immediately I'm thinking, how are we going to deal with tomorrow? How am I going to deal with tomorrow? How am I going to deal with the day after that? Because it was like back to back, back to back. And if it was the middle of winter, it would have been, I've got plenty of time to think about this. Yeah. But first of all, that roller coaster of emotions. First, it's the personal thing where you think 30 years of pain and suffering, which is our industry, is just going up in flames here. The other side, the realistic sort of logistics sort of thing going on in my head. Okay, what am I going to do then for tomorrow? Because I've got clients who are going to be waiting for stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm already thinking plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all this sort of thing. And then once that job was set up and the staff came and we're all bawling our eyes out, we're all there just looking at it.
Yeah.
Dealing with the emotion first of that, and then also because we're so close with our, like when it comes to weddings, it's a little bit different because you're dealing with those clients leading up to the
There's
wedding.
a lot of emotion involved.
And it's 2 or 3 months of discussion. So you get to know them, you know what they're feeling. And then you're thinking, okay, how am I not going to let them down? So we're already thinking, how we're not going to let other people down.
Was there a point ever that you thought, I'm done and that's it? I'm just going to ring these people and say sorry and now's the time to...
I'll tell you right now, when I got a phone call from my insurance guy at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he says, Stav, just so that you know, we dropped your insurance twice over COVID. And that's when it really hit. That's when all of a sudden I realised I'm not insured to replace everything that was in that building.
Yeah. what they call underinsured.
greatly underinsured. There was no way with what cover we had would we be able to be pro licensed again. And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. And my wife was there, my daughter was there, a lot of the staff was still there. I'm telling them, go home, there's nothing you can do. Again, that emotional roller coaster, bawling, trying to be... And then you've got your staff and your friends around you, so you've got to be the rock.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? You've got to get them to like, no, this will be okay, we'll be okay. But internally, I'm just saying, I'm done. I'm done. I've worked 30 years. I'm 50 years old. I haven't got another 20 years ahead of me to try to rebuild.
Yeah.
It took us 30 years to get to here.
Yeah.
And there was like that moment where, and it was a good moment. It wasn't like, no, wake up.
Yep.
Let's just kick yourself out. Let's go. I was seriously, that's it. I was going to give up. And then the messages started coming through. Stav, do you need anything? Do you know? I'm part of, there's so many AV people that also involved with emergency services and things like that. So 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting these messages. Stav, is that you? Because it's AV company in China.
I was on the news.
Yeah.
It was news. It was like it was all over the place. And people, do you need anything? Are you okay? Do you want space? Do you want gear? And flooded with that, flooded with this support. And, you know what I mean? It wasn't the support of the equipment that really affected me. What really brought me out of my funk was that emotional support. Stav, you'll be okay. We're here for you. And to be getting that from a multitude of people from all over different industries, and you sort of realise, like, people say, Stav, look, you'll be fine. There's people who will support you. You know, you got this, you got that, you got this, you got that. And that's what turned everything around for me. Because at 12 o'clock, midday, the fire's still going.
Yeah.
The fire brigade's saying, okay, well, look, we've got it. It's under control now. Get going. There's nothing you can do here. We've got it under control. And then bang, it just re-erupts again. And they're floored houses. So, turbo cell timber boxes going up in flames. It just everything's just burning.
Yeah.
So comes 1 o'clock, I said, I can't. And then they told us they're going to start bringing in bulldozers to try to get the fire out. I said, you know what? I've got a wedding on today. I'm going to go there. I'm going to mix this band.
Yeah.
Stay busy.
Yeah, well...
You know what I mean? It was like, I can't do anything, and I always feel like I have to do something.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go home.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go cry.
Yeah.
There was nothing else I could do.
Got to keep your mind active. Try and just dissociate just for a little bit. Give yourself a break.
Yeah. It's something positive, something to do.
Yeah.
And I went to the Botanical Gardens. I've walked in there, and it's probably one of the best setups we've ever done for one of our large wedding clients. And I was bawling my eyes out. Everybody's coming over, and they said, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I'm just." The team had done all this, knowing what was going on, and said, "Stav, don't worry about it. We'll get it happening. Don't just." And I just got there, and it was all done. And the band rocks up at 2 o'clock. They didn't know what was going on, so I put on, let's get you going.
Yep.
Do sound checks.
Yeah.
Got all this guy, and we just had a night. And then again, that whole night was surrealistic because everybody's still messaging me.
Yeah.
It was a cruisy night because it was a wedding, but I just stayed there. Everybody's just giving me alcohol to drink.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It was good. So I got through.
Well, for the power of the human spirit and
Yeah.
all those good wishes and...
Yeah. Just letting you know you're not alone, I guess. There's people, as a business owner, sometimes it can feel like it's all on you. And just, I guess, knowing you had these people that were thinking of you give you that kind of feeling that, okay, I can do this, like that little pump up.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think as business owners, I think we need it on a regular basis. I think we're all exactly in that boat where every time there's a crisis, you do feel like you're on your own, that you're the only one going through that. And going through that process, I think a lot of people are too proud when they're having difficulty during tough times.
Yeah.
I think as an industry, we should reach out more often to each other, because I tell you what, if you're hurting and you're trying to do it on your own, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And I can tell you now, if it wasn't, like I felt, like you said, like if it wasn't for Renata, my partner, she's really involved with the business. And again, it's like us against the world sort of thing. What can we do? Because you're always getting pushback from banks, and you know, I mean, you're trying to create something and people are telling you the reasons why you can't do it.
Yeah.
As business owners, we're always getting this.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely 100% correct. Having that feeling of, I'm not on my own. There are people that are willing to help out, get us through this, and wishing us, you know, all the best, and say, look, well, we're here for you if you need you.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't end up taking a lot of that up, because obviously we're not doing a lot of AV, that just that emotional support was, it was just opened up, okay, slap myself around, say, look, okay, I'm not going to have to do this on my own. It's not like it's all on me.
Yeah.
I've got people I can lean on, and over the coming months, it was incredible.
Yeah. So you rented the building across the street
Oh,
and
yeah.
moved into there.
Yeah, well, that was very fortunate. That was all because we ran out of space in our main
And
building. We had that.
I had been to the old one, the one that burnt down, and it was chockers. So I totally understand why you needed the opportunity to rent something else. So at least, but you had a base to kind of basically work out of, and then restarted.
There was a bit of a moment of having to think about what it is that we're going to do, because, like, you know, when you're underinsured, as much as what we were at the time, because obviously, like, I'm sure everybody was doing it during COVID. You know, people were taking, they were deregistering their vehicles and leaving them parked on the side of the roads. You know, whatever you do, you can save money.
Yeah. I did the same.
Yeah.
Because you kind of go, well, this queue isn't going anywhere. So do I need to? I mean, the chance of it being knocked off. I mean, other than from fire here, it's not getting used.
Yeah.
So it's not sitting at Crown on a loading dock or in a van. Why pay for that? So we all did.
Yeah, and you look at, okay, the first year you go, I don't need that insurance on site. Don't need that. Yeah. Second year comes along and you get slammed. You think that another, $12,000 bill comes in. You go, well, I've got no money to pay this.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Oh, we'll just cut back.
Yeah.
Just cut. Yeah. And everybody did the same thing. The biggest regret, I would say, in my life was that as soon as everything kicked in, what I should have done is had a look at everything across the board. So, okay, now that everything... But we had that. How many times did we have that? How many times they say, we're going to start again?
Yeah, and then 2 weeks later, oh, no, we're not. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. We've changed our mind.
And no disrespect to the insurance brokerage industry, but like my guy, who's lovely, but it's like a once a year kind of like time to catch up and go through it. Now, when COVID comes back in and you're back to normal, our catch up might not be for another 5 or 6 months. So there's 5 or 6 months where we're back, but we haven't updated. It's not in the forefront of my mind. Oh, we're busy again. Better ring my broker.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many other things, like obviously
finding crew and
which was the
COVID
biggest
was
issue.
so had so many other issues, just trying to get the work and then find people to fill it. Like you're not necessarily thinking about all those the minutiae of other business admin.
But it is at a salient point, isn't it? I mean, insurance is something that hopefully you never have to use, but you can undervalue it a bit, can't you?
You can. If you've never had that, and I do talk to a lot of people that, especially people that we sold equipment to, or they're setting themselves up. There's a lot of young guys that have hired gear from me and then gone off to set up their own businesses. And I said, oh, look, you might want to have this, because when I was hiring out to DJs, this is what happened, and it wasn't until this happened that I decided to have that coverage and have this and have that. And it's all learning curve for us oldies. Yeah. And you try to sort of tell new people the sort of problems that you can foresee, but we only know what we know.
Yeah, but and also sometimes you need to experience. Sometimes you can't be told. Certain people, like it's like with kids, you try don't touch it, it's hot, and they need to actually find out how hot it is.
Yeah. Don't insure until it burns down. Yeah, right. That's another one.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even. Wasn't meaning to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But it was actually quite funny because it didn't take too long, and again because everybody was helping out. Emotionally, getting a text from, like, I got Alan Spiegel. He sent me a text of a photo when we did the launch. He was doing flamethrowers off the top of my building for the launch party.
Yeah.
And he sends me a photo and he goes, too soon yet.
soon, yeah.
I was pissing myself laughing. Because what do? Do you cry?
Yeah.
No, this is the... And I think that's... Us as an industry, in the AV industry, I think we like to take the piss a little bit because if we don't, we would cry because it's such a tough industry.
But it also, and because it is an industry where we have to pick ourselves up and rebuild like often, from just a show, a normal show, just a bad one, or something. I mean, like it's we're pretty well equipped, I think, to generally deal with that sort of stuff.
And curveballs get thrown in left, right, and centre on
On a
lot of
daily
gigs.
basis,
That's it.
And problem solving and dealing with crises. But not too many people have experienced what you've experienced.
No.
The crew, most of them hung around. I mean, did you lose anyone through all of that? Did you have to?
No, to be honest with you, if anything, we had some of our old crew come back and say, look, we're now doing this, but do you need help?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we didn't really lose staff. What ended up happening was, once we had a look at, we had a real serious think about of what we were going to do. Because when we started looking at getting quotes to replace things, we thought, we're not going to be doing this effectively unless we replace all of that. And you think, well, if we can't do it effectively, well, that's like, our ethos is unless you can do it well, you just don't do it.
Yeah.
And so we just started taking, we can't do this, we can't do that. So, well, what are we going to do? This is what we do well. So we can replace a lot of that now. And that was the wedding market.
Yep.
That was the wedding market. We were getting a lot of runs on the board. We're getting really well known for that. We thought, you know what, we're just going to double down.
Yeah.
Double down on that.
And weddings were like huge, and they still are, but that you're still talking in
that time we had
post-COVID wedding bonanza, right?
Yeah, we had like the following, like we had 36 weddings that we rolled out in the 4 weeks straight after that fire.
Yeah.
36.
Out of the stuff you had from that job at Botanical.
We reused, and we kept on reconfiguring and curating.
The good thing about weddings too, isn't it, that you build a lot of bespoke.
Yes.
So the fact is that the nature of that means you can build that inventory up.
Correct.
Again.
Yeah.
Because you got to buy it.
Well, our industry accepts the fact that if it's going to be bespoke, if it's going to be custom built, that they're going to wear a lot of that cost.
Yes.
And that's a sad thing in the AV industry. Microphones now, wireless microphone, well, decent microphone is worth so much. You get a decent wireless microphone, $2.5 grand.
But it's still $150.
$150.
Yeah, that's always been.
It's always been, and you can never raise it more than that.
No.
So as things are creeping up and getting more and more expensive, obviously in the AV industry, you've got 4 or 5 TVs. It's not the TVs that cost; it's the distribution that costs. It's the vision mixers that cost. By the time, and that's what I was saying. We had to sit there and figure out what are we going to do because we can buy TVs. Why not?
Yep.
It was all that ancillary equipment, all that other stuff that goes along with it, and all that inventory. Like if everybody was to look at their shelves and really price up what's sitting on their shelves, I will guarantee everybody in the AV industry is sitting on a gold mine because all those little things that they've accumulated over the years.
It's no different to your home. If you kind of have to reassess to your home insurance too, you might go, I've got, I don't know, 40 grand of stuff, and then your broker will go, you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's because you start adding it up. Gee, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, especially like even just all the little converter boxes that change one signal into another one, and you look at that shelf and you're like, oh, actually, if each one of those is $400 or $500,
Yes.
it's crazy how it adds up.
Like you'd have a little case of decimators.
Yeah.
Because you might take 2 to a job, but you take all 6.
Yeah. Because I think that's the thing that you kind of can never look at your asset list and your depreciation schedule and you go, I've got this many hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff, but that's not what it would cost to buy it all tomorrow, because that's what because a lot of that's written down and zero value. So if you had to have and go out and buy, what would it cost for all this stuff behind you? And it's, as I say, it's those little things.
I was telling everybody it's a well worth it an exercise to re-look at what you own and what you've got and what it's worth to replace. Yes. We were looking at things, maybe replacing a lot of it with second hand. But again, you can get certain things second hand, but certain things that there's no one who's going to sell it to you. Because all the
you can't buy it all tomorrow second hand.
No. And even if someone turned around and said, here's all the cash, it will take a long time to do all that. So for us to be able to get on our feet, get rolling, get what, and because it was like we said, custom made items that we're using for the weddings and things like that, it was very hard to get that from other people. There was one particular job. It was only like 2 weeks after the fire. We were contacting everybody we needed a kilometre worth of fairy lights. Like, to us, what's a kilometre's worth of fairy lights?
Yeah.
Pick up the phone. Hey, have you got any? And we're reaching out to a lot of guys, and credit to them. A lot of people trying to help out. We had technical events. Scott there saying, "Oh, look, I've got some." He looked at what he had. He goes, "Oh, I've got a couple 100 metres." I had another guy say, "Oh, I've got a couple 100 metres." And you think, what do you do? Then I had Simon Finlayson from Harry's ring me up and say, "Stav, I hear you're chasing up fairy lights." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "It's sitting here waiting for you. How much do you need?" You know what I mean? Just getting out of a bind.
Yeah.
And we had staff driving, like we had with people that were offering us equipment. And we'd be going all over Melbourne, and they would be going after hours. And like, after hours, I'm going to go drive to Narry Warren and go pick this up. And I had a staff member say, "Oh, look, I live in Western Suburbs. I'll go to Gisborne." Now, Western Suburbs to Gisborne, it's a long way.
Yeah.
But going out of her way to pick up something just so that we could do one event and then trying to get it back.
Yep.
It was really difficult, but we had an obligation.
Yeah.
We had all these, and once we made up when we had that decision to sit there and say, we're not going to give up. We're not going to, I had professionals telling me, I had my insurer and my solicitor and my accountant saying, force majeure, you can't deliver.
Yeah. Oh, totally. No one would have an issue. I mean, because it's a perfect. If you were thinking of getting out, this is why not?
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing is, if we were covered, I'll throw in the camera right down there. If I was fully covered, you wouldn't be seeing me here today. I would have been long gone. But we weren't, and we had to deliver on these promises. And we had all these people. And again, like I said, it's not something that you could sit there and say, "Oh, it's a nice little AV gig for Southern Cross. Linton, do you know anybody? Can you send them down 2 TVs, a microphone?" There's dozens of people that could do that.
Yeah.
What we were going to deliver over the next 6 months, no one could.
Yeah.
And it really brought it to home that we are very niche, because we couldn't go to any one company and get the majority of what we needed.
And then it becomes like a huge, not only a gear issue, but it's a logistical issue.
Absolutely.
Like you're saying, you've got people, you have to get it from all different places, get it back there the next day, and it's hard to manage. Like
It
that's
was
why.
a crazy time. It was a crazy time. I think a lot of our staff got burnt out over that period, had a bit of a break, did the other season, and then we did have a couple of people turn and say, "Look, I can't do this anymore." And credit to them, there was a lot of people burning the candle on both ends, and they didn't have to. And I was sitting there, "Look, I understand. I will do it. I will do a 72-hour straight to try to get through, because it's my business.
Exactly.
It's all on me.
But you can't always
don't need
expect
to
it.
do that. And I don't expect it. And I don't want you to do it." And you're trying to tell them that. I said, no, I'm going to go there anyway. No. And you know what I mean? And again, like I said, credit to them. They were part of the rebuild. So when we had the first premises, and mind you, we're trying to roll out events. We're painting. We're putting racks up. We're going out and running around trying to get racks while we're buying new inventory. So it's not just a matter.
I came to visit you in the new joint, and you were painting the floor, but you also had COVID.
Yeah.
So it was a weekend, and you were there on your own.
No time to rest.
Yeah.
Stay there.
Yes.
Well, again, but we're all like that. That's why it really, like, everybody in the AV industry and the events industry, we're a completely different breed.
It's that whole show must go on kind of
Absolutely.
thing, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And then it really, once you start seeing what people would put themselves through to deliver on a job, all it does, it just gives me, I'm really proud of our industry. First of all those people reaching out and saying, "We want to help."
Yep.
That was crazy. Like I said, that pulled me through. That's actually what put me right here today, and being able to sit and say, "Wow, 18 months later, look where we're at," all that sort of stuff. It's not the physical help. It wasn't it was the emotions that drove all that. Because Well, you could wake up in the morning and if you're not feeling great, I can't find my keys, blah, 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 the world is over. But if you're feeling good and you've got that support, you get out, got a flat tyre, bang, you're straight in. Oh, I've got a flat tyre, the gear's loaded up in the truck. Oh, what are we going to do? Oh, I haven't got the right... You're into...
it's that attitude, yeah.
Yeah, it's having that attitude and having that... it's all emotion-driven. And I have to say that our industry, we're all a bunch of fighters. And
We probably don't really show it.
no. And
Often.
I think as an industry, we should.
It's often, I mean, it could be competitive advantages and stuff. It could be typically if you talk to someone in the industry, you know, how you doing? Oh, really busy. Oh, yeah, I'm really busy. But, you know,
Yeah. Badge of honour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. No one's ever going to say, no, I don't know, I'm not sure.
No, because that's the problem is. Like, I think because everybody in our industry is mostly blokes, and we've always said blokes don't want to sit there and let their guard down. They don't sit there and say, "Oh, it's tough."
Yeah.
You know, and if you say, "Oh, things are tough at the moment," you could be considered either weak or a whinger. But you know what? I think when we were all in the same boat, you remember the GFC? Like some guys are young, they don't remember the GFC or the recession. But we've all been through it, and there was tough times. So when everybody was doing it tough, we were all okay to say we're doing it tough.
Classic point. I mean,
And then
you know,
COVID's more recent.
Yeah, because the community and comes out because we're all in the same boat. It's just, it's when you're in an individual crisis.
Yeah. But it's amazing, like how you felt that support from other people, even when there's not a big calamity going on in the world. Certain people and businesses can have down times and can be having struggles. If you are able to say to people, if you've got that trusted network around you where you can say, yeah, actually, it's not going that great. I had a full calendar and now a whole bunch of stuff's fallen out. It's a bit tough. If you can say that and people can sort of offer you that support, or if you hear other people are going through that, and you are as well, then you go, oh, it's not just me. Because otherwise it does feel like, everyone else is doing so well. You look on social media, look at all this crazy stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's everything in life. Why am I struggling so much when everyone else is doing so great?
Yes.
And you think you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is when you think you're doing something wrong and you're trying to correct things.
Yeah.
When it's not you. It's just,
But I mean, that's social media's classic, isn't it? I mean, it just shows you that very well staged, you know.
social media.
Look at us, we're doing really well shot or video, and kind of don't see the behind the scenes. So
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it really is. It's worthwhile saying that.
Yeah.
It is tough, and you know, I'll be the first one to sit and say, you know, we've got a tough industry, and if you're not resilient, it's an industry that you shouldn't. Like I used to go speak at a couple of TAFEs and for the event people, because there's a lot of girls that wanted to get into events because it used to be, I want to be a beautician, then I wanted to be a hairdresser. Now I want to be an event producer.
Yes.
You know, event stylist and all these people. And I'm telling you, it's not glamorous.
No.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, and the quicker we can get that message to people, but I think a lot of the young ones, like you said, sometimes they don't want to hear it, or they think, oh, you're old, that's why. So we're here, older guys, trying to impart some of the wisdom that we've learned by trial and error. You know, to try to help the industry, because that's one of the things we found during COVID. I think we lost a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge because people just left the industry.
Yes.
And that was one of my driving forces. I did not want this incident to be the thing that's my downfall.
Are your people full-time, casual, freelance?
We've got a handful of full-timers. Again, because of the nature of our industry, a lot of them have got other jobs and they like coming and working. It's an extra job for the weekend for them.
Yes.
Having said that, our industry, I'm saying, because now it's an offshoot, because it used to be the AV industry, then it was the events industry. Now the wedding industry is a beast of a thing now. It's really grown. It's really matured in the last 6 or 7 years. We're finding that people want to do it as a career.
Yeah.
So they're more and more looking to that to be a full-time position. And I think now that we've gotten into the size of the premises that we've got now, and it took a long time because one of the other struggles that we had was trying to find a premises that was large enough.
Yes.
But all the large premises in this area were being chopped down into small places because people want to make more money at a smaller place. That was a struggle.
And you live nearby.
I live nearby. I like to be really close.
Yeah, so I'm the same. But yes, you must have, like I have thought about, do you have to go... You have to go where the real estate is more appropriate, and it just means obviously you got to drive further to work, which is fine. But there's only something you can in this neighbourhood. Certainly, if you're into Port Melbourne, you're even more.
And then you pay more.
Yeah,
paying ridiculous amounts. I think I was speaking to Tim Hall from ResX, and he did really, really well because he was able to identify his market.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, we don't have to be nearby. Back in the days of staging connections, you had to be close to the city.
Yeah, especially that venue-based thing where they can call up and say, we need this little thing right now.
20 minutes from now. So you have to be 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're someone like that, you can be out in Noble Park.
Yeah.
So we're considering, maybe we should go out there. But then we realise that we're semi of a bit of the both, where we're a bit where we need the space because of the big pieces that we've got.
Yeah.
But we also need to be close to the city because the nature of our industry is a bit like, whereas the AV industry is like, all of a sudden we need an extra wireless microphone. But it's easy to put that in your kit. So you take 2 microphones instead of 1, or you take 4 when you need 2. And you know what I mean? So you sort of start getting used to doing that. But when someone turns around and says, we just got into the venue, there's a big ugly wall and we need 20 metres of draping, which means...
Yeah, you're not going to carry that around as a spare.
As spares, no. And you want to be close enough because we're not in-house at venues.
No.
We are an external supplier. And 9 times out of 10, there's a very, very small window of opportunity where you have to be ready by a certain time. Now, again, showtime for a lot of corporate events is when guests arrive.
Yeah.
Showtime for weddings is an hour and a half before guests arrive because the bride needs to get in there, do all the wedding shoots. So they'll do all their photos. So it has to be 100% ready.
Yeah. It has to look the part for the photos and video or whatever.
Because then they go away and then you get the guests rolling up. And so you've got this little window opportunity. And then in that same time of setting up and getting it ready, by then you've got everybody else that needs to be in there and getting their things done too. It's very convoluted and complex.
Do you are they mostly CBD or do you do
everywhere? And that was the other reason why we wanted to choose being where we are now, because there's a lot of weddings that end up becoming destination weddings at wineries and places along the coast. So
Mornington Peninsula.
Mornington is beautiful, it's in season time. So it's very seasonal. It reminds me a bit like back in the day when we used to do dance parties.
Yeah.
It's like a very small time.
Yeah.
And so back in then we used to do dance parties, then you did corporate events because everything was seasonal. Thankfully, the wedding season is a little bit longer and wider, so that was why we were able to just concentrate on that. But again, different types of weddings. During the better weather, that's when you go Peninsula, and the other peninsula, Geelong, Torquay, right around the other side of town.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's different from AV as well, because generally AV, it's pretty much in the CBD
All the time.
for a lot of the conferences, all that kind of stuff. But you really have to think, where am I going to go? Because, you've got all those places to consider.
And not only that, but having to do that, like we're going to plonk a marquee in the middle of nowhere because we want to see the Mount Macedon Ranges.
Yeah.
So we're renting this house for 3 weeks and we're going to put a marquee on that. And we need all the AV, light up the outside, toilets.
And you need power. Because a lot of these places wouldn't have the same facilities you've got when you rock into the city. You got power here, there, and everywhere.
And toilets. They're a house on a farm.
So all those little bits that you keep now is completely different from when you're in the other game.
You're working predominantly for then wedding
planners.
So they've obviously come to you, and they probably have different places they probably tend to go to, but. You've got multiple trucks now. I mean, obviously you've got to cart a lot of things to a lot of different places.
More trucks than we've ever had. It was crazy. Up until even when we had, we thought the pinnacle of our business, we didn't even own a truck at that time because we had Melbourne Truck Rentals around the corner. Yeah. And we just rented from him, and we were one of his biggest clients because it was great. He was around the corner. Yeah. It was brilliant. Then post-COVID, during COVID had to sell off his trucks to survive, to get through. Yeah. So he was buying new trucks, and then obviously we all know that there's no trucks around. Yeah. And because we couldn't get personnel, that was a real big issue. So again, we're all used to, it's a Friday gig. You unload the truck Friday night, you reload it Saturday morning for the Saturday gig, and off you go. Yeah. We didn't have that opportunity. So all of a sudden, we're buying truck. Now we've got 4 trucks,
And you can leave the kit in it.
Or load on Thursday for a
Yep.
Sunday gig.
Yeah, because you don't have to pick it up.
And we had to do that mostly because also we didn't have the premises.
It gives you more storage.
It was basically not being stored.
And again, it's one of those things. It's not just a monetary decision. Like, what's the cost, benefit of owning versus renting? It's just a convenience thing, and the knock-on effect of not having it at your disposal.
Bringing the staff out, whatever. That's the other thing, is if they're already. So you can look at the money value sort of side of things, and you think, okay, the client's paying X amount of money. Can we afford to do that? Whatever. But then it's also your staff. Are we killing them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they're all going over and above doing what they're going to do, well, then what can I do?
Yeah.
As the business owner to help them out.
Yeah, so
that
if
flexibility
if you don't have to unload it at 2 a.m, then that saves them doing it every 2 hours.
Yeah, because there's maybe time tomorrow to get it done. But yeah, if you've got to get the truck back.
That's right.
Yeah.
And not everybody does what we do and live 2 minutes away from work. Some people are like an hour away. So you think, and then they've got to come back in the morning. So look, you know what? Dump the truck or go home with the truck.
Yeah.
Come back, grab the other truck. We'll load that while you're off on a gig, and off you go.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of that going on now. So I think now that's part of our business model. I think there's no reason to kill people. Like, if you've got the inventory, why not load it on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
Load it on a Tuesday, have it sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the new building, which is literally just around the corner from here, but around the corner from where your old one was, massive. How big's that?
Oh, it's close on 3,000 square metres.
Bonkersly big.
Yeah, and we've gone high.
Yes, it's fully racked out mezzanine.
So you can get you got bigger trucks and that kind of thing. Is that?
Oh, we won't
Or
go
just
full.
racking kind of thing.
No, the racking goes up, and we've got forklifts, and we've got like 2 forklifts going on, and a walkie stacker.
Yeah.
Again, it's like I had a friend of mine that hasn't seen me since before the fire, so he thought, I'll come and visit, and I said, look, we're a little bit further up now. So he drove past 135. Said, oh, yeah, there you are, and kept on going, and then he found that one. He goes, oh, my God, it's like a Bunnings in here. It's like, because the Bunnings colours of all the racking and all that stuff. So he walked around, and I said, oh, yeah, since the fire. He goes, what fire? Because everybody in the industry knows about the fire, but because I haven't seen him in 3 years. And he goes, but I went past it, looked fine. I said, no, go around.
Yeah. The old one is on a corner.
So the facade looks fantastic.
But
So
down
it's
the
like,
side
great.
street, it looks like, and it's got twisted metal, because these things get to like 400 degrees, and the metal just falls in.
Imagine girders twisted like taffy.
Because it would have been like a 1960s kind of build, had that kind of vibe, the old one. So.
And all these big, huge girders.
Yeah.
It just bent and buckled, and they had to go in and put support brackets underneath to hold the roof up. It's still there. It's great. We think of doing a post-production movie.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic thing.
Yeah, you can rent it out.
Yeah, why not?
So yes, you're in a new building, and you're building a lot of sets and flats, and because it's to use my old Staging Connections terminology, but it was like the old set and display department as opposed to the AV department. So it's very theming now.
But I think as opposed to pure theming, because again, this is where, I sort of I like doing this. I like crossing things over to make it so that we don't have to have too many different suppliers doing anything. So it makes it convenient for the client. So what we do is we integrate everything in.
Yes.
So everything's integrated. So you've got LED integrated with the backdrops and stuff. So it's not just set and forget kind of thing. So we've also got, so we still do a lot of AV, but it's also to enhance the things that we've already got. So we've still got moving lights. We just don't have 30 of them.
No, and you project onto white walls, and you project florals and stuff. So it's not
breakups.
It's not that you're not doing tech. It's just that you're not doing corporate conference with company XYZ logo. It's floral moving pictures.
And it's a lot of that stuff that isn't taken into account when you're talking about insurance and stuff like that. Yeah, it's gear, it's things, but it's carefully thought out. You've got these sets with these spaces for lights to go in. It's these integrations that these are the things that take time, thought, putting it together. It's not just something you can, like you said, you can't just go somewhere and buy it.
No,
it's like it's a whole system.
No, not off the shelf at all. And some of the delays that we had, look, I kept on arguing with my insurance company. And I just want to put it out there, really do due diligence about whoever's going to be your insurance company, right? Because to date, 18 months, almost 2 years later, we've been given $30,000 for our business interruption insurance.
Right.
And I had $180,000 worth of cover.
Right.
So, and we only got that because I said, it's been a year. In good faith, can you just throw us some money?
Yes.
Were
Were they disputing whether you should get it, or were they just
it's
dragging
the
your
whole.
feet?
Oh well, you got to justify it and show it, that you have been had in business interruption. I said, how much more business interruption can you get? No equipment, no venue.
Yeah. Surely there's
No
like a
phones.
common sense thing that you can just say, look
you
at what
can't.
happened.
No,
Like,
no,
But today,
You have
is that
to-
because they look at you and go, well, you've clearly picked yourself up and you don't need it? Is that what they're...
Well, that was on paper. It looked like we were okay because you still got these events coming up, and I said, yeah, but how much events are we knocking back?
Yes.
We not
And how much trouble are we going through to deliver?
to do deliver. And some of the jobs like our brokers were saying, what you have to do is you have to do the event, even if it costs you $30,000 to do a $27,000 event, to show them that it costs you to put it on. So this is the dramas.
And even that, even going through that to prove to them, like the paperwork and all of the effort, like that's money in itself. Like while you're still trying to pick yourself up and get everything done, I also need to put all this work into proving that a bad thing happened.
Yeah.
And that it caused me a headache. That's like, when do you have time to do that?
Well, we didn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
And that's why it's taken so long.
Yeah.
And this is where, and the frustrating thing was, like back in the days, if you had a car accident, a guy will come and have a look at your car and go, oh yeah, you've dented it.
Yeah.
Right? I said, just physically come and have a look at what we've got here. We've got nothing.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating. I think at the time it was straight after the fires and the floods and things like that.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, so many people were telling me that people have been living without a home for a year.
Yes.
I started feeling guilty about whinging. Why should I be whinging about getting replacement equipment when there's people that haven't got a home?
And
So I was starting to go through that emotional turmoil, and it was really bad. So until it got to the point where I was seeing what it was doing to my staff, we're running around like maniacs trying to deliver on these things because they love doing what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all passionate about what we do. So whatever it took, they did.
Yeah.
So I was getting back to my insurance company and saying, look, you know what? It's been 6 months. You haven't given us $1. You're telling me that I'm not covered for loss of income and all this sort of stuff enough to be covered. I said, if you gave us the money that you're supposed to give us 3 months after the fire, we wouldn't have this conversation. We'd be more than happy. We would have done everything we would have had to do. I wouldn't be giving work away. I wouldn't be like there's one of the chaps that was working with us prior to that year. At one point in time, we calculated that we gave him $300,000 worth of work. So it's his business has taken off. He's loving it. He's great. And to be honest with you, looking back at it now, it's not a bad idea because now all our AV work we send his way because we don't want to do AV, and that's what he's an expert in.
Yeah.
And we said, look, please, I've got another client for you.
Well, that's it. And you don't think about putting that in your books, like when they say, we'll prove it. It's like, well, I didn't think we knocked that job back. I didn't think to put that, potential invoice into my system.
But we did. Those ones we
yeah.
did. So we've actually shown $240,000 worth of work that we've given away. And they say, oh, but it factored this and factored that, you really would have made a profit of this. Oh, anyway, just want to strangle them. So the thing that we didn't factor in was the delay that it was going to get going again due to the delays from the insurance company getting the money that we had. Because
you just think I'm insured.
Yeah, and
I'll
I told them
what's coming.
And getting back to where we were going from before about being off the shelf, I said it's different if you delayed everything 3 to 4 months to figure it all out and then give me the money and then I'll go and get it off the shelf. It's not like I'm buying a projector or a screen or a microphone that's readily available. I've got to get these custom built. And a lot of the stuff that we're getting built was being from overseas. So now I've got these weddings that are going to be rocking up in September, October, November, and I'm telling them this in May and April, May, June. I said, if I don't put those orders in now, I'm not going to have it, which means I'm going to have to fly it in. So I'm going to lose a lot of money air freighting stuff in. So again, the money that I've got to play with is going to be greatly reduced because of the fact that we're going to have to be paying so much in freight.
And in a normal situation, bad enough. Throw COVID into the mix when everyone's got supply chains, back orders, no one's been able to you know,
Cost
do
of a
anything.
container to get from
Yeah, it's shipping, like,
Yeah.
throw that into the mix and then it's like a double whammy.
It was
So again, it's
yeah.
testament to you to, in fact, where you've got to.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, humble beginnings I knew you when you were on that little joint in North Road, and then just around the corner, obviously, probably a few buildings in between, and this enormous joint you're in now.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping this will be the last one.
It'll be the last one.
It's the last one.
You'd want to hope
It's
so.
done.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling the staff. They said we're running out of space. I said no, we're not.
No.
Make shelves.
No.
Build higher.
Yeah.
It's big. It's got a lot of offices. Like
Yeah.
you could have a lot of staff.
Well, that's the thing is we've got room for growth, and I really look forward to still growing. I still like pushing the boundaries. It's the challenge that really, and I think that's it's not only the resilience. It's not only we've all been through tougher times because I'm sure we've all been in the boat where people haven't paid us or have gone belly up on us, and
Yeah.
we're financially how we're going to get through the next 6 months because this happened to us, and we're going to try to make it happen until we've all been through that, and it's all worked towards making us strong and resilient and still love what we do. And if we're still doing it after that many years, it means that we really love what we're doing.
Yeah.
But for me, at this time in my life, it's still the challenges that are still ahead, the things that we still can do. That's what drives me mostly.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why because I still feel like there's so much more we can do for this industry. There's like we're saying, we can create more new stuff. There's so much things that we can do.
Yeah.
That we can do. Like people say, it's only done overseas.
Well, at the moment.
Australia.
Do you do stuff interstate? Do you?
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff in interstate, and we've just recently been asked to do some stuff in Dubai. So,
Right.
yeah, it's again, this whole thing of like opportunities are always there if you're brave enough to take them. And I think that's important.
You were saying how initially out of necessity you sort of started focusing on the wedding scene and that kind of thing. Do you feel like that has created more opportunities for you because you're now seen as more of a specialist in that?
I would say
space?
yeah. I would have to say that many years, I always, like a lot of people, wanted to say yes to everybody because you don't want to say no to a client.
Yeah.
And because we had a greater inventory, it was easier to lose focus because we can do that job, so let's do it.
Yeah.
And we know we can do that well, so we'll do that.
Yeah.
And we'll do this, and we'll do that. And trying to have enough of a team that could do all that kind of work, it has its own challenges and difficulties. When you start focusing and targeted one area, as long as that area is not like, again, we used to be like the kings of dance parties at one stage, and then all of a sudden they turn around and said, you're not allowed to do dance parties anymore. Then your market's gone.
Yeah.
Weddings is one of those markets that will never go. And if anything, it's growing.
Yeah.
So at least if we look at over the years of 30 years of Proline and Sounds, and I opened up because at the start, and we thought we were being innovative because at the time, I don't know, you'll probably remember these days where if you wanted a PA, you'd go there for a PA and there for lights and there for video. And I thought, no, pro light and sound.
Yeah.
We're going to have both. We're going to have lighting and sound under one roof.
Make it easy.
And that was innovation back then.
Yeah.
And I wanted to offer really high-end gear to DJs because I struggled as a DJ to get good high-end gear. And I thought, there's a market for that. And then every time we sort of looked after and went niche in one area, and it's worked really well for us because you're focused, all your resources go into one area and you do it really, really well.
Yeah.
The problem with doing it for so long is that because we've done so many different areas, we lost focus on being able to do one thing really well.
Yeah.
So yes, weddings, that's all we're geared for. We can smash them out. And if anybody wants to lift the boundaries on a particular wedding, if we've had people say, we love what you do with weddings and we want to do something like that in this area, we still say no.
Yeah.
First of all, I need personnel, trained personnel. And you can't find, like we were saying before, you can make a phone call and you get all these people. We know so many people in the industry. We could do it. Like I can do that. And it's a lot of money. But to be honest with you, it's going to detract from where we're heading.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm finding the next 10 years of my life is going to be invested That's what I'm really enjoying. The satisfaction level is high. I'm sorry, I want to say this out. I'm going to put it out there in the universe. When you're doing a corporate event and you go out of your way for somebody, the gratitude is never there.
No.
You might get it like a backhanded thank you.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, AV Techs, you guys are all rock stars, because how many times we're on a job and a client will come along and say, I need this done, and you'd go out of your way to make it happen for them. And I just think it's a given.
Yeah. Well, because you're generally dealing with the public, essentially, whereas we're obviously in more like a traditional corporate event sector. It's a corporate engagement. I mean, there's transactional. There's money. You've been paid. That's the expectation.
And the expectation's here.
Yeah.
But I get paid for this.
Busted your balls to get that radio mic there. I mean, that's what I've paid you.
Whereas,
But you're dealing with. I imagine. I'm sure we haven't touched on bridezillas, but I imagine there is the other
there
side.
are bridezillas that are the epitome of bridezillas. However, you can mitigate all that by actually delivering on what you promised.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're only turning into monsters because it's not met.
Because a lot of people are telling me, it's not possible. But I've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as long as you tell them, like, they come along and say, I saw this. And you'd say, okay, well, that looks lovely. Do you have $1.3 million?
Yes, but you're not a Kardashian, so no, you can't have
And there's a skill in that, putting it in perspective for people, because some people just say, you can't have that. And then the reaction's going to be, they just can't be bothered, or they don't want to do it. If you can have that knack or develop that skill of explaining, look, if you want that, these are the implications and all of this kind of thing, explain to them, then often they'll be on your side, I guess.
In the corporate world, you have to talk in terms of ROI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've always struggled with that. Whereas talking to somebody, when you're talking about emotional, as you can see, I'm a very emotional person.
Yeah.
I appeal to people's emotions. I can understand people when they get emotional about something. And I used to talk about finding out what's really going to drive that person, because a lot of times I'll say, I want to make sure this is done. And then when this happens, if they're talking in that kind of language, and when this happens, that's the most important part.
Yes.
So you can deliver. If you deliver on that, afterwards, you're going to get that 5-star review. They're going to say, oh, my God, you're an amazing team. They were so fantastic. They were so lovely, Because
you must have a very high emotional IQ. I get my wife to explain it.
Yeah, please do. Get women to explain it to guys like me.
You'd have to, though, because obviously, wedding's a very emotional thing.
Yes.
For one of the biggest moments in everyone's life. If you can read that well and take it for what it is, it's like they're reacting intently because this is really important to them. And so if you can understand that, and then, as you say, know what you need to deliver on, this is what's important to them, and you can do it, then they're going to have a good experience. They're going to tell their friends, I guess.
Absolutely. And what I used to make the mistake of trying to deliver that in the corporate world. And so I used to think you could buy loyalty by delivering a really good job. And again, the corporate world's about what drives them is money. What drives them is the ROI. What drives them is as long as they look good to their boss and all this sort of stuff. So as long as you tick those, it's all great. But then you do all that, and then that same company, that girl or guy that you're dealing with goes somewhere else. And the rest of the people there don't know you from a bar or sign.
Yeah. Right.
Whereas at least with a wedding, especially with planners, and that's what we've got, say maybe 40% of our market is the people that see us on Facebook and Instagram say, well, obviously you must be good because these are the preeminent wedding planners in Australia and they're all using you. So we're going to go through you as well. To be honest with you, I try to encourage my team to still put it through a planner because, and again, I'm putting it out there, whether it's a corporate event or a wedding or whatever, there's a lot of minute little things. If you are walking down the aisle, and there's something going on in the venue, like the flowers haven't arrived, you don't want to be calling the bride during the wedding ceremony that the cake rolled up and it's fallen over. You want someone that takes care of that. So the reason why planners like using us is because we take a lot of the back end away from them so they can concentrate on that stuff, on the stuff that they understand. So because we're really specialists, because we bring in so many skills when it comes to ceiling installations and integrating technical stuff with backdrops and
Because you
styling.
really transform rooms.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. People have walked into Crown and say, this can't be Crown.
Yeah.
Can't be Crown. Wasn't even like, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago, just 2 weeks before Christmas. Crown, as an example, transformation. The car, we totally covered the carpet. We got a custom colour carpet done. We got staging in, fully staged out, raised the whole upper deck area so the seating and food people and up here, and they had a sunken dance floor, and you had a stage for the band and a stage for the bride and all. And we covered the whole, because I don't know if anybody's been in Crown, I'm sure you've all been in Crown by now, but whoever designed that carpet should be shot. It's like give kids Tonka toys and go for it.
Yeah,
It's crazy. So obviously when a bride walks into that room and says, oh my God, this is horrible, but we've seen, this is the photos, we want it like this.
Yeah.
So well, all those photos that you see, we've brought in and we've carpeted it.
Yeah.
We physically carpet the floor.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to have that on your wedding.
No.
And then we do other flooring styles and all that sort of stuff. So it's crazy.
And it's identifying what people want, right? It's like, oh yeah, this carpet's bad. We can be the people that fix that problem.
Yeah. And if you're a planner and they know that can be fixed, they said, okay, well, we'll let you worry about the staging, the audio, the lighting, the design, the backdrops, compliance, because obviously you can't have 3 metre tall backdrops unless they're held up in a certain way, and it's too hard for them. So if they know they can deliver on the promise to their bride, they'll concentrate on the other things that we don't get involved with, which is, the food, the styling, the event they running from one thing to the other. And all of a sudden, because that's all taken care of, they can concentrate on it. They look good.
And they can do their job better. Yeah.
And unlike corporate, they appreciate it.
Yeah.
They say thank you, and they come back again and again and again.
So I guess you wouldn't have to advertise at bridal expos and stuff, because as long as the planners are.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't anymore.
No, they don't even need to.
No, the level
Word
of
of mouth.
the level of work that we do now.
They're in high demand.
Yeah. It's a completely different market. You know what I mean? It's just like tier. When it comes to tiers we're probably in the top tier now of the wedding market.
That's very good.
Which is good to be. So it is like, we're going to get married. We're going to have 500 people at X, Y, Z place in here, and we want to have this. They're the people that go to.
So just circle back to the topic. Did the fire and all that affect any of that wedding clientele or those planners? Were any of them nervous? Did they ever go, shit, better find someone else?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And then again, because we've got a 30-year credibility, every one of those clients that said, oh my God, we heard they burnt down, what's going to happen with my wedding? Everybody else around us said, don't worry about it.
Not good.
Oh.
You'll be taken care of. There's no way. And obviously then they referred back to because I posted a video that night thanking everybody for their support, and we're not going to let anybody down, it's really wonderful, da-da-da. And then and again, a lot of those clients, we spend a couple of months. So you get to see the passion that we drive, and what you see with me is what you get with the whole team. We're all like this.
Yeah.
Meetings are fun. And there was a lot of nervousness. Now, what was really sad was that we were able to deliver, and they were all comfortable because everybody settled down and said, not a problem. We even had some brides, and I can't thank them enough, and this has helped us greatly, saying, look, we heard you had a fire. Our wedding's not till February. We don't have to put the next deposit down till August or whatever. Would you like that earlier? It's sitting in my bank account.
That's amazing.
Great.
Now, I was floored. I mean, when I had the girls coming up to say, oh, look, someone such and such has rang up. They said they're happy to give us the money now for the next deposit. Do you want it? I'm going, yes. And then I'm going, yes, because we need the money in our bank account so we can get things rolling.
Yeah.
We had no phones. We had no.
No.
We're running off an Optus 4G thing to do all our internet and quotes and stuff like
Cash
that.
flow is huge. Like when that gets thrown out.
And that's where your insurance
It was
money
all
would have come in
gone.
handy.
You think.
Yeah.
And then because it wasn't there, and I told them, I said, if it wasn't, for all the support that we had, we would not be here today. And mate, I'm telling you what, mid-year this year, there's going to be a big party. We're all going to be involved. We're all going to get smashed. We're going to celebrate. Because it's just crazy that we got through these, by the time we did that. But we had, again, you touched on it a little bit about, there's always people in the industry that are the competitive nature. Mine's bigger, mine's better, mine's this, mine's that. I've got a better this, that, and you're going to get it. It's human nature.
Yeah.
Like one of our biggest competitors was turning around and telling clients, I wouldn't go to them because they're probably going to go belly up. Their place burnt down. They're not going to be able to deliver.
Yeah.
They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And we had clients tell us this. They said, we went there. We sat down with them. We were taken aback because they were very pushy to get a deposit, and we're never like that. I said, look, this is what you got. Whenever you're ready, this is the time schedules that we need it to be, and let me know what you think, and we'll leave it to you, because we're not pushy at all when it comes to it. And they came back to us and said, oh my God, we're going to go with you. But so many didn't. And it was really sad to think that people are out there that would, at a moment,
capitalise in trying to...
Yeah, take advantage of it.
Take advantage of it. To sit there and just capitalise on someone's ill... Like, it would be different if it was genuine. Like, if you knew that... Like, I'd be the same. If I knew a company's not going to survive, I said, look, no, that's the end of them. No, you don't want to be going...
Yeah, and you're trying to do that person a favour
to help them
in
out.
That sense. But that's not where this was coming from.
No, it was very ingenuous. Yeah, and
opportunistic.
Absolutely. And I think that was really sad. So we did have a lot of that. We had a lot of that. So these are all the challenges that we had. We had a fire. We had obviously just moral and emotions just going crazy. What are we going to do? This. That's all right. We'll be covered. We'll get through. I'll contact the insurance company. We'll start getting gear back. We've got a space. At least we had a space to work from.
Yeah.
We had often, like yourself saying, if you need space.
Yeah.
We had a lot of that. So we had all this support. So then all of a sudden then you get this really, woo, this is great. We can get through. And then you talk to the insurance company, and then you start getting these hurdles and hoops you got to walk through. And then so like back in the days with the banks, when the bank gave you difficulty, you said, no, bugger them. Despite you guys, we're still going to go ahead. So you still go ahead, and we started doing everything.
Yep.
And then looking for places. We were very gratified when the guy right next door, so we got this one warehouse, the guy next door decides he's also grown and he wants to find a bigger place.
Yeah, so he went from 1 to 2.
To 2.
Yeah.
And it was great because it was like literally a little alleyway between us, and the 2 doors go between. So that was okay. But then when we went to a 3rd, and then we started looking for a 4th.
Yeah.
And I was looking at, we already had a couple of our staff members saying, look, I've got to get out. We're burnt out. We can't do this anymore. Even though I was telling them, don't work so hard. Take the time, decompress, take the holiday. No, that's all right. We're okay. And it just collapses in on them when they work so hard. I feel like a lot of my staff feel guilty because they see me working. And I have to be the ones that tell them all the time, don't worry about me. I come from the days of working in nightclubs and dance parties when we're working 24/7. So I can handle this.
Yeah.
You go get some rest. No, we'll help you unload. We'll help you this well. And it was very, very difficult to just to do that. So we went through this roller coaster of every time there was new challenges being thrown at us, and so when we found this place, which is more expensive than we ever anticipated, and just everything is just so much more compounded, because it's not just the rent, it's everything else that goes along with it. But there is no other option, because if we go to a 4th premises, I might as well give up, because
the logistics
it's just crazy. How do you run around between these 4 premises? So we bit the bullet, we did it. I think it's the best thing. The staff that turn around and say, wow, we're so excited. You know, when they get that, then you're surrounding yourself with the right people.
Oh, look, it's a really lovely building. It's really big, and and you've filled it, which is great to see. And
we didn't have to spend any dollars on the offices, because they look gorgeous already.
Yeah,
nice.
So I think we should wrap up for today, because we can talk for days.
The one thing I just wanted to say before we wrap up is that I think you've just highlighted there. You said 30 years of hard work to get you where you were before, and then you've had this big thing come up that's really challenged you, and it just goes to show. It seems like all that effort that you put in for those 30 years, showing up every day, doing a good job, putting in the hard yards, and then when that bad thing came along, and you said there were people around you that were telling clients, don't worry about them, they'll get it done. Building that reputation and putting that effort in, that's what can really help you get through those times, and what can bring people around you. So it just highlighted to me like the importance of just every day showing up, like you said, like just show up,
Yep.
put your best foot forward, and just
I think if there's a lesson to be learned out of the whole thing, taken from what you're saying now, I totally agree. I think is show up, be forthright, be honest. We're telling people it's happened, but we're going to get through it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you're a passionate, enthusiastic guy, and that obviously came across even the day I saw you in the street on the Monday after. As visibly shaken as you were, you were still positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think your clients, your friends, your family can see all that. There's always going to be some guy that's going to try and capitalise and take advantage of that, but that's unfortunately human nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, those 30 years all comes to that point when all that comes out, I guess, in the wash. Everyone sort of pipes up and says, "We're here to help." So congratulations to you for getting through it.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to the next 10 years of wherever.
Oh yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Said I think you can be a regular on Gafferpedia, and we can talk about all sorts of things from starting businesses to even exit plans and getting out of them ultimately, but all sorts of things. So, but for today, I reckon that's it. That's a wrap.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It was really great to be able to get that story out.
Yeah.
I think it's been bubbling inside me as well. You know, you sort of like, because people turn around and just assume that, insurance company, you're done again. But no, it was very challenging. Yeah. And it's great to get around with people like yourselves that understand the industry as well. And we all know where we're coming from, which is great. So thank you for having me.
Good to have you.
While I'm here, I just want to put a big thank you to all those people out there that called me, rang me, reached out to me straight after the fire. Yeah. Was really appreciated, because I tell you what, if it wasn't for that,
the community,
for the whole community supporting, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have this conversation with you now.
Yeah,
I would have just given up.
It's very gratifying, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, on that bombshell, we shall say adios, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
See you next time.
All the best.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Gafferpedia is brought to you by TechBox, Hippo Event Technology, AV Hire, and Cardigan Creative. Catch you on the next episode.